You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network.
And everybody, we're live here on the Wrestling Rewind, episode 26. Thank you all for joining us. It is Monday, the 15th of June, 2020. Dave, welcome to the show, sir. How are you been?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, it's been the greatest week ever.
Well, we definitely got the greatest wrestling match ever last night.
Absolutely.
So, thanks for everyone who's listen to us live. If you are, say hey in the chat. We're on Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, all the stuff, all the things, all the time. And we're also on Phoenix 92.5 FM every Tuesday at 8 p.m. as well. So if you're listening there, come over to the live chat. If not, send us an email to nerdtoknowmedia@gmail.com. Yeah,
If
look,
you can't find us, you don't know how a search engine works.
exactly. We're very easy to find, and every week we add somewhere new. We're on Mixer now, so AJ Styles stream of choice, Dave.
Absolutely.
I made sure that I got that because I was like, if we don't, Dave will be upset. So I'm like, no, it needs to be done.
I mean, if I can't be on the same platform as AJ Styles, then
Exactly,
nothing
like,
matters. And now that means now I can just pull it up on my Xbox. That's fantastic.
yeah, you're all good to go, you know. Also, we're also sponsored by the Brave browser. So if you guys do want what is fastly becoming my favorite browser, go over and download the Brave browser from the link below. We're using it now. Everything that we have on our screen share here is from the Brave browser. Be it built-in VPN. You have to earn cryptocurrency and all this other good stuff that Google and other places will not give you. So download the Brave browser. Try it. If you don't like it, you will like it. I guarantee you will. Also, if you're ever interested in customizing browsers, it also gives you that option too. So why not?
Absolutely. I never thought that I would, after 15 years, move over from Firefox, but I mean, I'm just so amazed by not just the features, but the built-in features from, straight out of the box that you get with Brave browser. It's just phenomenal.
It really is. And it also, you're going to be tracked, you're going to be traced anyway, but you might as well get some money from it. So that's it. Instead of Google or Facebook getting your money, Brave gives you a cryptocurrency for everything you search, everything you use. So you might as well get your own money back. So yeah, download the Brave browser from the link below. That helps us out, supports the show. If not, you can also send us a Ko-fi link, which is on this side of the screen. Or you can also add us directly through Facebook, PayPal, and give us some money there. So yeah, that's all the shilling done this week, but we had to get it done.
Just got to get it out of the way.
You had to get it out of the way. Look, the build. Well, look, if you can't, you're like, hey, look, I can't afford that. That's fair enough. The best way to do it is spread the word of the show, subscribe to the channel, or even engage. Because hey, look, we're the only wrestling podcast show brought to you by fans that don't hate wrestling. So support us.
Facts.
These are all facts. But yeah, another fact, Dave, was we had the greatest wrestling match ever last night.
It's a fact. It's documented. Yeah.
Ever. Or I did enjoy actually some of the memes where it's like the actual mat itself had a clip. I think it was either the mat or it was like the ring apron, or like a bit of the announcer's table, and it was like Raw in the 90s, a test match. Because that's just the way it looked. And I was like, yeah, there were a lot of test matches in the Attitude Era. But yeah, look, this had a lot to live up to. They did blatantly false advertise because it wasn't the greatest match of all time.
Wow.
It wasn't. It didn't have AJ Styles in it. So
don't play to my fandom. I know what you're doing. Don't do it.
Like the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles match from SmackDown was a phenomenal match. If you haven't seen it,
oh my goodness,
that probably would have been up there as the greatest wrestling match of all time. But it would have been in one of the contenders, and now obviously it wasn't. But that blew this match completely out of the water. But the knock-on effect of having this set up was it really was a one-match card. Like, have a look at it there. It was a terribly boring pay-per-view, I will have to say. And if I paid money for it, I'd be very upset. Now, some would say you do pay money.
You did, technically.
Yeah, you have a WWE Network subscription. But I'm like, Yeah, true, but I watch it for other things, and the next part of our show was worth it alone. But
I got to say this about the WWE Network. I got to give them a lot of credit
it's
in
so much
terms of
better
their
now.
business model,
Yeah.
because the selling point to fans initially was, hey, instead of $60 a month that you're paying us, you can pay us $10 a month and watch the pay-per-views. And we always knew there'd be a back catalog of stuff that would get added over time. Well, that time has come. And the back catalog is there. So I find myself using the WWE Network much more often to watch things that make me feel nostalgic or things that we're going to review. It's so amazing for stuff like that.
Doing this show,
yes,
it's kind of necessary to have a WWE Network subscription. Well, not really, because you know yourself and myself probably have quite a vast back catalog of DVDs or whatever. But I would much rather just be click, 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 watching whatever I want to watch than,
right.
you know, even waiting for the little don't try this at home stuff happening. Now, the only time I'll do that is, you know, if I'm watching a DVD that was sent out to me or something like that. But other than that, I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I'm not gonna. That's
But
not gonna
I
happen
like
anymore.
that I don't have to feel as though, okay, somebody sent me a DVD, so now I need to review it, which was, you know, the case in the past.
Yeah.
Now it's, I'll gladly review a DVD if you want to send it to me, and please do. I mean, we love looking at the past. If you're any promotion, we don't care. If you want to send us something, we'll check it out. Absolutely, and we'll give an honest opinion. I mean, we'll be honest about that. Our opinion will be honest that we give, but this has made it so we can watch so many documentaries and stuff that if we tried to buy them all, there's just simply no way this show could exist. I mean, 52 weeks times, you know, $25 a DVD or whatever.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Even with our Brave browser money, it's still not
absolutely
enough. It's still not enough.
Wow, way to get the plug
right
in.
back in.
Love you.
But what I will say is I really enjoyed the overall presentation of it. Now their improvements have actually been really good. I've also got a Fire Stick recently, and that's nice. Because the PS3 subscription or support rather dropped, so you can't actually watch it on the PS3 anymore, which is kind of you can't watch it on some Android devices either, so that kind of sucks. But being able to just pop in a Fire Stick and have it there, it's great. So look, if you haven't tried the WWE Network, or you did and you kind of got stung, there's even a free tier. You don't even need a subscription now to watch certain things. They actually pop up their free YouTube segment inside the network, and the pre-shows are there too. So fair play to the WWE Network. It wasn't worth it initially, but now it is. And that's what I would really say to anyone who maybe had a subscription and were kind of like, oh, I'm done now. You know, at least being able to go back. And even if you're searching through segments, like when we were doing the hardcore division, we had the documentary, obviously, that gave us a lot of footage to watch, but being able to go back and search even more kind of stuff, it was pretty cool. Like pop in Hardcore Holly and just been given a random Raw match. You're like, oh, this is great, you know? So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
fair
if you
play.
think this is the early days of the WWE Network where it was all, you know, it was sketchy, it was skippy. They've really worked the kinks out. I mean, WWE, to their credit, often is on the forefront of emerging technologies, and they were right. You know, they were right there with Netflix with this one, and that's exactly how it works. And now, I mean, one of my favorite features. Originally, they had it as you could skip through, but you still had to fast forward to get to like certain points that they would mark. Well, now when you open up pay-per-view, like let's say you open up Backlash, it will provide you with, okay, jump to this scene, and it'll give you a little thumbnail, and you can jump right to the matches that you want to watch.
It's brilliant.
I absolutely love that feature.
Yeah, I love it too. It makes it all so much smoother, and it's all there, and it's great. It's kind of awkward when you're looking for a Chris Benoit match, though.
Well, you just have to spell it correctly. It begins with a K.
And
if you know what I mean, then you know what I mean. If you don't, then you don't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of like, well, it's not there, but that's in the older stuff. But like, look, for the majority of shows nowadays, it's all laid out quite nicely. And boy, this came in handy because I started watching this show last night, and I was playing Deus Ex. I don't know if you ever played Deus Ex.
Yeah, I saw you were streaming that last night. I'll plug something. Make sure you check out Nerdux on Twitch.
Oh, thanks, man. We also do Let's Plays here on this channel, so anything that is on Twitch goes to YouTube on Let's Plays. But I was playing it last night on my second playthrough. I've never done the new Game Plus thing before, So it's like,
oh, okay. So you get to start with
everything.
and then you get to add your XP on and
Exactly.
unlock more. Yeah.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And the initial playthrough wasn't great. I thought it was kind of poor. But now that I have all the tech, I'm able to just walk around and cover. The game is so deep. Like I cleared through the whole thing in 6 hours, and now I'm about 10 hours in of just halfway through the game because of there's so much to do. So yeah, I would say pick it up. It's very cheap if anyone's into like cyberpunk, dystopian futures that isn't our own. More fun, fun than the modern world. At least we have cool technology. And
Absolutely, and I'll give a cheap plug for a game that I'm currently playing. Came out a little bit ago by Obsidian. You know them from Fallout New Vegas. I've been playing the Outer Worlds.
Oh,
If
no
you want a
way.
game,
No
if you want
way.
a game that's really fun for about the first 4 hours and then makes you hate your life for the last 5 hours of the game, and by the way, there's 20 hours in between that time frame I just set, you should get the Outer Worlds.
I have the Outer World, and I love Obsidian because of Fallout New Vegas is my favorite Fallout game, and also they made
Yeah.
one of my favorite games of all time, Knights of the Republic 2. And I have the Outer Worlds, and it's sitting over there, and it's plastic, so I will get to it.
It's all right. The problem is we're so used to in this world expecting AAA quality, and it's a AA game, and they do a lot, but you can definitely see where more funding could have made it a really crazy experience.
Right.
The dialogue options, which is supposed to be their strong points, just it's not Fallout 3 level. And it's certainly not Fallout New Vegas levels. But if it's a good start, a good endeavor. Welcome to the Game Corner here on Nerd to Know Media.
Actually, yeah, you and Keen should hook up and actually do a show together because that'd be fun. I would tell him that you're interested because I know he's looking for guests. So I will set that up. But yeah, I would say we stream a lot here. If you're interested in that, you'll catch a random streamer Let's Plays. But anyway, so I was playing that and I was kind of like, right, I'll have this pay-per-view on the background because I knew it was going to be a one-match card. And then when I was watching it, I got to Asuka and I got to Braun Strowman and The Miz and John Morrison, and I'm like, you know what, I'll watch this tomorrow. So that's where I stopped and I went to bed because I was like, and it was a better decision because I woke up this morning for work and I was like, right, I'll have this on in the background. And that match was the worst 7.5 minutes of wrestling I've seen all year. The Drew McIntyre Bobby Lashley match was up there as some of the worst wrestling I've seen all year.
Really? Now,
Yeah.
I'm going to be straight with people.
Yeah.
This was sincerely a one-match card for me. I watched Randy Orton versus Edge a couple times,
Yeah.
And I watched the show that we're going to cover in the second half of this show last night instead of this pay-per-view. So I was reading the comments, amongst the internet, and it seemed that people really liked the Drew McIntyre Bobby Lashley match. I don't have an opinion because I didn't watch it. I'm just curious.
That's fair, but I heard WCW 2000 comparisons for this segment of the show.
Oh, okay.
And it's very warranted with the Braun Strowman match. Honestly, I think putting the belt on Braun Strowman, it wasn't planned. Get the belt off him very quickly and give it to someone else because it's not doing anyone any favors. You give it to Bobby Lashley, honestly. I think, or someone else, anyone else, anybody. Who's that child that he wrestled the tag team match with? Give it to that child.
Oh, at WrestleMania?
Yeah,
like the referee's kid?
Yeah, give it to him because he would be better.
That made me mark out. I'm not going to lie. That was one of my favorite moments from that WrestleMania.
It was
clearly not enough of a moment for me to remember the kid's name, but if you look up the WWE Tag Team history online, he's listed there as a champion. Yeah,
exactly. He's there.
He got to go to school the next day with the belt. From what I heard,
that's so cool. That's so cool. Look, Drew McIntyre is a great champion. Bobby Lashley
wrestling's real.
Look, Drew McIntyre is a great wrestler and he's a great champion, and I really like the way he's been positioned. But Bobby Lashley just isn't good, and he doesn't have the charisma. Like he's a really good wrestler. Don't get me wrong, he really is. He just doesn't have the charisma or believability to. Like, this is the problem he had with TNA as well when he was Mr. Golf. He doesn't care. He just wants to go play golf. And you can just get that off him. You're like, okay, I get it. This is a job for you. But compared to someone like Brock Lesnar, where you still feel something when he comes out, with Bobby Lashley, I'm like, I'm really bored. This is really bad. Please go play golf and go away.
I'm telling you, Derek, it's the size of his head. It just doesn't match the rest of his body.
I don't know. I like, even when he was in his first run, when he was doing that John Cena stuff, I was like, I just don't see it. And then in TNA, they gave him a massive rush, and I'm like, now it makes sense. The man just wants to play golf. WWE, please just let him play golf. That's my appeal. Because he doesn't want to wrestle, because he's terrible at it. As far as like professional wrestling, the man doesn't get it. But Drew, you know, there was a lot to work. I like the MVP stuff. I think that's great. Pairing him with MVP was a genius move, because the man needs charisma, and MVP is built of it. I'll tell you what, if they want to have someone of a great of that kind of tier who is super athletic but actually has a personality, promote Keith Lee and put him in and give him the belt.
Do it.
Pair him with MVP. That would be amazing. Like, at least Keith Lee likes wrestling and is believable as not only a champion but also this monster mega heel or face. That's what they should do. I don't know why they're trying this Bobby Lashley thing again. It just doesn't work. Then they brought out Lana.
I'm okay though, because I kind of want Keith Lee to be his true greatness. I kind of want to be saved for a live crowd. And if things are going the way that I think they're going, I don't think we're that far away from getting at least some semblance of live crowds back at WWE events.
Well, what I will say, you know, and again, like I will say, you know, that just to finish up on this, the Lana stuff hurt the match as well.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going against this from the get-go, but moving away, that's one thing I want to say about this pay-per-view. This is the first pay-per-view they've had where they've actually embraced not only sweetening of the crowd, but also having some live crowd there. I've heard some people give out about it. I was listening to Meltzer talk about it today, and I'm like,
why do you even give him the time of day?
Look,
I don't understand.
I like Brian Alvarez a lot.
I mean, great.
Sister.
Yes, he and I are Facebook friends, but that's as far as my interest goes in anything that's said by either of those two.
But they were talking about it, and then Meltzer was giving out about the crowd noise, and I'm like, why, dude? This is a lot better. It doesn't sound like a weird sex show anymore. It sounds like a wrestling event, you know. And I don't know, you know, I just don't know what people expect, because there's no other way to deal with this. There's no other way to kind of. It's either you have it one way, where it's awkward and silence, or you have it another way where you have to kind of amplify this. Now, the plexiglass stuff around the ring,
I love it.
I love it. I think it's great. Again, it's like being in rollerball, but it allows them to actually interact with it and kind of have some semblance of this is like a proper wrestling crowd. I just wish they'd let the one thing I do agree with the planted crowd, let's say. I wish they'd let them just be the crowd rather than tell them what to chant, because that does take away a lot from it. But again, they probably tell them what to chant so they can sweeten it in the truck.
Well, I think it's all about telling a story. And to be fair to the WWE, they even announced, hey, we are going to amplify crowd sounds. We are going to use different camera angles. We're going to do things to enhance this match. They were straight up honest. It's not like Roman Reigns is coming out and getting heavily booed, so they dampen the audience and plug in cheers. Like that, those are real things that this company does. So
when they have a crowd,
keeping that in context, how are you upset about something like this? Like, yes, it's clearly a planted crowd. That's why when I said that about Keith Lee, like, I don't want him to get his ovation in front of a planted crowd. I want to see how a real fan. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that, because I guarantee you the people in that crowd are real fans. But I want to see how a paying fan reacts to him and his card.
Well, those fans are just people who are hired in the performance center. They're just wrestlers.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're trainees. And I got to give a shout out. Oh, my gosh. I have to give a shout out here. Sorry, Ireland. To my favorite NXT diva, or crap. Not diva. Women's wrestler. Sorry, I was watching One Night Stand from 2008. My brain hasn't adjusted back. And man, for those who don't know about Casey, she is fantastic. You might know her from
She's your girl now. She's your girl now, is she?
She absolutely is. She was on American Ninja Warrior. She of course has the amazing privilege of dating Ricochet. And one of the coolest, actually, what made me a fan of hers is the fact that when Ricochet like debuted and then he started having title matches and title wins, she would record herself at home, or sometimes also with like her roommate watching the match, and then the performance center would edit it together and upload it online. And just seeing the passion that she had for someone that she loves success was just so heartwarming.
No
I
way.
know I'm getting old apparently, but it was so heartwarming that it made me a fan of hers. And the stuff that she does in the ring is incredibly acrobatic. She's got the Alexa Bliss size. She's 5'0". So I mean, she's downright adorable. She's got skills. I don't know what'll happen. I don't know if she'll really make it, but I don't know why I feel the need, but I'm just giving a plug to Casey right now.
Hey, fair. You know,
I can't pronounce her last name, which is why I'm avoiding. I think it's like Cateranza or something like that.
Casey, girlfriend of Ricochet. There you go.
Yeah, Casey girlfriend. I don't want to define her like that because a year from now she might be mine. But I'm just saying, like.
Well, look, it can be a title that we adjust as we go on.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Is this going to become a recurring segment? David's favorite diva of the week, or
well, you seem to have a new one every week, so it's
I do.
Mine says
Liv Morgan's next week, by the way. Spoiler alert.
At least mine's consistent. I like Alexa Bliss, and I think she's the best. So
well, she's a goddess, so she's on a different level from everybody else.
She's so good, and there's a song.
Us mere mortals have to also pick people to add.
That's fair, but there's also a song written about her as well, which makes it even better. But Bowling for Soup, which is great.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really, yeah. Really. It's super fun. So yeah, like that's mine, you know. But I think she's actually like in real life dating Braun Strowman. And I'm like, how does that work?
Wait, Alexa Bliss's?
Yeah, I think in real life. I'm like, how does that work? That must be very confusing.
That's very Hayden Panettiere and that Russian boxer Vladimir Kolchenko.
I was more thinking the Mountain, you know, from Game of Thrones.
I mean, also like, yes.
Like,
but
what?
In terms of just a person, if you ever see a picture of Hayden together with her, I think now husband, it is astounding. And yes, it makes you go, how do they?
Yeah,
it must work somehow.
It must. They must have ways. But you know, fair play. But this overall, this show was.
You can't tell what we think about this show in general. Think about the fact that we've barely talked about it.
Because there's nothing to talk about. Like
the match was great.
Nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's just a show that like literally nothing happens in. I did overall I like the presentation of it. Again, like it was a really, really. It was like one of. It felt like it was actually like a wrestling show. You know what I mean? Like they've made it to such an extent that now it does kind of feel kind of video gamey, but it's like it's either that or it's the weird silent sex show again. Which one do you want? Yeah. So it's like this is the best they can do, and I have no problem with this until there's a full crowd back.
It was still fun. Like I can't hate on it too much. There was crazy stuff. No, dude, there
was nothing to hate. No. With the exception of that Braun Strowman thing. Everything else just kind of happened. And then I did like the Viking Raiders Street Profits cinematic scuffle.
I heard about this. There was some hentai in it, apparently.
It ended with like I thought it was more of a Star Wars homage, but hentai.
I thought it was because they're in Florida and it was a crocodile tail, but apparently that's too mundane of an explanation for the internet.
See, they were in a trash dumpster.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, Star Wars reference, but then of course Florida. Yeah, there's loads of gators in Florida. So
I am wearing a Rogue One shirt right now. So
oh, very cool. I'm wearing a Game of Thrones shirt.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, that was it. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, just going back in there. So look, the show kind of fell off a cliff. Started off in a very weird way. Not our show, but the actual show last night. And what I will say is the Sheamus Jeff Hardy match isn't bad. Worth a watch. Really kind of cool little introduction back to Jeff Hardy. Furthers the story and then gets Sheamus over. Moreover, really, really put him over, built him as a super monster heel. And
absolutely. They gave it a really good amount of time, which I liked. And I mean, hey, let's not even completely toss out the triple threat tag match for the women's title, because I mean that was a
Also a great
beautiful
match.
match.
That was a great way to kick off the show.
I mean,
Really
I don't
enjoyed it.
know how the match itself was. I just mean it was a beautiful match.
Yeah, all the competitors were, it was very pleasing on the eyes. Let's put it that way. And I don't even like the Iconics, but I love Bailey. Bailey's so cool. I would so much prefer her as a heel. It's like when Emma became a heel, and I'm like, I'm absolutely in love.
Yes.
Heel Emma is like the best thing in the world. So yeah, fair play to them all. They had very little to work with, and they managed to pull out a very decent show. Without getting into the last match, if this had just been a show, it would have been a fun throwaway mid house show or something like that. That's what this all felt like, a house show. You know what I mean? It's like something you'd see in Dublin or anywhere around the place. Then we had Randy Orton and Edge. Now, the build up to it was kind of funny. The promo package, where you could tell the guys weren't really believing what they were saying, and it's just like, oh, this is the greatest match of all time, and then you had Shawn Michaels, and it's just like, you don't believe this. Nobody believes this.
He's just cycling Ric Flair's retirement match in his mind,
It's like, no. And then Ric Flair, they wheeled out Ric Flair to say stuff, and you're like, listen, it's probably going to be a very good match, but it's not going to be the best match of all time. Now, the story of it, we thought it was going to be a cinematic match, which it should have been. That said,
it
almost was. Yeah, it was a blend. Now, they did some weird stuff. They had Howard Finkel's mic drop down, which was, I loved it, marked out.
Oh, my gosh.
He did the introductions, and I was like, oh, my God, this is so
before
cool.
Before we jump straight into the match, I got to say, last week on the show, we, for obvious reasons, mocked the crap out of this because I hadn't even heard of it. And to me, my gut reaction was, oh, are you kidding me? Well, let me tell you something. Following Edge and Randy Orton on Twitter this week, especially considering that the match was pre-recorded last week, so all of the trolling, all of the comments that they made online now have a totally different meaning.
Yeah.
When you realize that they were hinting at things that they were going to do in the match.
Yep.
I think it was Randy Orton and Tommaso Ciampa had a big back and forth. And one of the things that Randy Orton pointed out was the whole leg slapping that happens in NXT so liberally.
Yeah.
And this match ended with one of the most egregiously obvious leg slaps I have ever seen. So I mean, that's the pure brilliance of this match. I mean, Edge was saying how everything he did was, I just had the greatest dinner ever. I mean, they turned me. They turned me into somebody who genuinely probably would have skipped this pay-per-view. We probably wouldn't even have talked about it this week. But man, they gave me a reason to get excited and see, like, will this or won't it be? Even though I know it wasn't good, but it just, fair play to them on the promotion for this match. They made me care about something that otherwise I would have gone, oh, Orton and Edge are fighting again. But now we can go on to Howard Finkel being amazing.
But they were fighting again in a totally different setting. Like, the story of this made sense. It was Randy Orton has said, right, you beat me, but you didn't beat me in a wrestling match. And that was the story. Even throughout the whole point of, point by point in the match, it was Edge out wrestling Orton or being out wrestled. What I loved is they were, the pulling out random moves. So it was like SmackDown versus Raw again, where it's like Edge just did the Olympic Slam and Orton does a pedigree, Edge does a rock bottom. It's like, what? What is going on?
You would unlock the ability to steal your opponent's finisher. Except you're also able to steal any of their stablemates finisher or any of their past tag team finisher. I love that. I love when wrestlers do that. One of the biggest examples, obviously, is Stone Cold and The Rock going back and forth and stealing each other's finishers. And I love the way it feels. I love the nod to Christian.
Yeah, where he tries, that was great, where he tries to do the Imprettier and then can't, so he does the execution. It's like, excellent. Like this match was,
and he did the pendulum, which is one of like their signature Christian moves.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, where you I guess you get whipped into the corner, or your opponent gets whipped to the corner. No, you get whipped in, and then you slide your legs out to the outside when then the opponent charges at you, and you like flip backwards and you kick them in the face with your legs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a signature Christian move that he did in the latter part of his career, starting in like his ECW days.
I love that was a part of the story.
Yeah,
It's one of the strongest, most recent examples of that being done in WWE, where stuff they did that made sense. Even the color where Randy Orton, I don't think he cut. I actually think he was legit.
Yeah, it looked that way.
It looked that way because it wasn't like ridiculous. It was like a little bit of color here and here, and it's like, well, yeah, that's probably where he got caught. But
I think it added to the match.
It added so much to it, and even when he won, he was like, he didn't walk away without being beaten, you know. And even to the end where he kind of cheated to get that last punt in, you know. But it was so cool seeing the RKO spots from the corner. And I loved the GoPros on the turnbuckle. I thought they were great. A fantastic little way to shoot this differently and add something to it. Now, this match was recorded straight, as I said a week ago, and then they redid some stuff. And Edge was actually injured. He tore his pectoral. He tore his pec during it. Now, we don't know where or why, but there's some speculation about it. I personally wouldn't buy into that speculation, but I would say it's maybe because, you know, taking 4 RKOs from the corner when you haven't wrestled in 2 years in a real match is probably going to do it.
Yeah, and there's certain things. There's certain things that you do to get yourself into a particular shape.
Yeah.
When you don't have to worry about certain things. Am I being as vague as possible? But you know what I'm talking about?
That is what is heavily employed as well. So we don't know. But also it's got to do with it. If you have a history of that, apparently, it's also part of it. So look.
All I'll point people to is The Rock versus John Cena at WrestleMania, their first encounter.
Yeah.
I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah. And then I think the second one, Rock tore everything in his body.
Yeah. I was there for that.
I just think it's funny that like Rock tore everything in his body, like just all the muscles all at once.
And that's why when The Rock's shooting movies, insurance will never let him compete in wrestling matches. Yep. And that's why when you wonder how come Cena doesn't wrestle anymore, it's because he's filming movies and The Rock screwed it.
Yeah, The Rock screwed it over by, you know, destroying his body literally through a couple of matches. But yeah, look, you know, it is what it is, and you know, at least Edge will come back from this. Thank God it wasn't a stinger or something like that, because that would have been an act from God saying, hey, look,
thank God it wasn't his neck. And I mean, hey, what did this show us at the end of the day? Randy Orton will never get the credit that he deserves, and I will never give him the credit that he deserves. Like I said, I'm biased, I'll be honest, but man, that dude can wrestle his ass off.
Orton is like one of the best wrestlers of all time.
He's so smooth. I mean,
he always has been. He always has been. The only reason why he doesn't do it is because he's like, I don't have to. But when he wants to, it's like, holy cow! Like all this feud with Cena, that was like why it was so bad, because neither one of them really wanted to push it. But when Orton was in with somebody who was going to go, they're going to go, and it's going to be unbelievable. And this was one of those matches where you're like, Orton actually is one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk all the time because, you know, we do about AJ Styles and the way he's able to move his body when he does certain things. I want you guys, the next time you watch, when Orton's doing it to an opponent that he cares about, like he did in this match with Edge, watch him hit an RKO in slow motion.
It's so good.
The way he's able to hit the mat square and perfect on his back and flex in midair is, wow, this sounds appropriate, Dave. But it's look, so cool looking the way he's able to do it.
But here's the thing about Randy Orton that people don't realize if you've never actually seen the man wrestle. He's very weird looking, and he's very long.
Yes.
He's a very long dude, right? So him being able to move like that takes a lot of coordination and skill. So he's
a very tall guy. The first time I saw him in person, I was blown away.
I couldn't believe how tall he was.
I had no idea how tall he was,
I remember seeing him do an RKO in Liverpool, and where we were sitting at the time, we were up in the cheap seats, because we always are, but because it's more fun there. But when you see him do the RKO, it's just the angle. He went halfway across the ring, and you're like, that looks so weird. but it never looks that way on TV. So I think when they added in the GoPros and stuff, it really kind of accentuated that fluidity that he has. But yeah, look, these guys are obviously like best of friends in real life, and they obviously carry each other a great deal. So it showed, it got everyone over. No one was made to look like a chump. I can't remember the last time somebody kicked out of a pedigree. I can't remember last time someone kicked out of like 4 RKOs.
I know.
It was unbelievable. Edge was made to look like a superstar here because he was and he is. And this was, while not the greatest match ever, it definitely is match of the year so far.
I know how hilarious is that? I mean, look, this match, because of the name, won't get
the praise that it deserves.
Yeah. That are sticklers for that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. To give it the praise it deserves. Yeah. But honestly, you had to have that tagline to make me care and watch it. Well, once I was there and watching it, I kind of forgot about the whole gimmick of the match. And I was just entertained. I mean, when's the last time we got an honest, straight wrestling? And by the way, I got to point out Charles Robinson with a bow tie. That was fantastic.
Right? Wasn't that weird? I was like, why is he dressed? Why is he dressed? Like, know what this felt like? This felt like playing 2K20. No, 2K19. 2K19 because it's not broken. Yeah. That's what it felt like. It's like someone just imported, create a wrestler, create an arena, and then you give them the weird little referee. And then you had adjusted the movesets to these guys. And that's what it felt like. It felt like playing a video game.
Absolutely. And I love the Chinese artificial ingredient reference at the beginning with Howard Finkel. I thought that's MSG I'm talking about.
MSG, yeah.
For Madison Square Garden. But I love that. I thought it was great. But again, my point is that I actually tuned in and I watched it. And when's the last time that we got a straight, honest 45-minute wrestling match with no shenanigans?
There were some shenanigans at the end, but it was kind of. It was cheating. It wasn't really, but it's been a long time. And if this had been normal circumstances, like if there was no pandemic, this wouldn't have happened.
We wouldn't have gotten 45 minutes. This would have been a 25-minute match.
Exactly.
That's what we usually get for main events.
And it would have suffered for it. If you haven't seen this match, go out your way to watch it. This show really is the tale of one card, but a tale of one match. But man, what a match it is. Not the greatest match of all time, but definitely match of the year so far. My match of the year so far.
Not the greatest match of all time, but definitely the greatest match ever.
And okay, so we're going to switch gears a bit and talk about something else. So look, initially we were going to talk about this. This is going to be our review this week, right? But then obviously we wanted to watch the show. And it's weird because One Night Stand, I think this is the last One Night Stand from 2008. And then
for anybody who's paying attention, we've kind of covered all the One Night Stands at this point, except for 2007.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk. We might do 2007 and 2005 together because
Well, I don't know if you can do them together. It's worth mentioning, by the way, that it was like 3 days ago. Well, if you're listening in Ireland on the radio, 4 days ago was the 15th anniversary of ECW One Night Stand.
2006. So, yeah, right. Timely.
No, 2005.
Was it 2000? Oh, it was 2005. And 2006 was
20 minus 5 is 15, Derek.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah. The greatest match of all time just blew my counting ability, my math ability. So that it was that one, but then there also was during the week, the anniversary of the 2006 one.
Yes, absolutely. It was the anniversary of Rob Van Dam winning the title. So
that's why we're doing it. That's it. Kind of works out quite well.
It's almost like we plan these shows around historic events because we talk about things in the past.
Exactly.
It could be that we're time travelers. It could be that we just know how to keep a calendar. I don't know. You decide.
I don't know, guys. Figure it out. But that's why we
decide for yourself.
We're not going to tell you, but that's what I kind of like about this this time of year as well. So we don't know what we're going to do next week. If you guys want us to do One Night Stand, let us know. If not, we're going to move on to something else. But it is June, so we figure it's appropriate to kind of cover this. But this is the last ECW heavy show. It's after this they kind of get rid of the ECW One Night Stand name completely and change it to Extreme Rules. The show is forgettable until you watch it, and then you remember, boy, this is one hell of a show. And I was like that too. I think I was watching wrestling bios or something like that, WrestleMania, and they were talking about Big Show being legitimately injured by a Singapore cane. I'm like, oh, he was in the Singapore cane match. I forgot about that, and then that's when I started watching it. And then I listened to the commentary and forgot Mike Allen was there, and I'm like, oh, this is good. So that's why we're covering it, because it's hilarious. But yeah, look, it also has the really historic Jeff Hardy Umaga match, where he does the massive dive from the outside in the worst crash pad thing ever, where he's just like, obviously they don't cut to it, but it's there, and you're like, that's what happened. Still a great spot.
They got it out pretty quick though. I got to hand it to them.
They did, and that was live. This is before their pre-tape and stuff. So
yeah,
fair play to them for actually doing it, because they it's there, but they don't insult your intelligence by showing it and then pretending like it's something else.
Yeah, like they do nowadays when Shane jumps off things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, I
but
agree.
I don't know what's better. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I like to be fooled better than I like to see it.
To be lied to. Yeah, like I enjoyed it a lot more. There was only one match that I kind of skipped on this. And I
obviously it was Triple H versus Randy Orton, because as we all know, Derek hates Triple H.
Obviously.
Please don't tell me it was Cena versus JBL.
No, it wasn't. I fast forwarded through 2 matches. But I skipped one of them. I fast forward through Cena, JBL, and Batista.
I did as well, yeah.
Because I thought that, like, those matches, those matches weren't what you'd expect them to be. They're okay.
Yeah. I watched like the beginning, got bored, then watched the end.
That's exactly what happened to me. Exactly. Yeah. And the stretcher match, I remember even watching it at the time. I'm like, this match wasn't great. And then watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, it really wasn't great. It was okay, but it wasn't what you'd expect it to be. I did skip the Beth Phoenix Melina match. That was yikes.
I did as well. It just does nothing for me whatsoever.
I really enjoyed the Singapore cane match though. I thought that was a really fun match.
I mean, I'm a sucker for anything on a pole, quite frank. Wait, hold on. I'm a sucker from any wrestling match with a stipulation where there's an object on a pole.
Well, I think this worked into it, because it wasn't just you get the stick off the pole and hit them with it. There were Singapore canes everywhere, and when the Big Show gets injured, like legit, his face got banjoed from the steel steps, and then he got injured from the cane. You're like, wow, that's a nasty cut, and it added so much to the match, because you're like, 1, it's the Big Show with a cane, and 2, he's hurt, so he probably is going to be annoyed by people here who he really is known for not really having time for. So he just starts beating the hell out of everyone. Poor Tommy Dreamer gets battered. CM Punk and John Morrison gets beaten around the place, and poor Chavo gets smacked around the place. And
they all basically get mauled. It's kind of funny when wrestling. And by the way, Tommy Dreamer's not a small dude, but it's kind of funny when you see kind of stuff like this happens, because you remember like, oh, yeah, if this was a real fight. And you give the Big Show a weapon, good luck, anybody.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they actually did kind of say that. They're like, Big Show doesn't need a weapon, and when he brings in the trash can full of canes, you're like, oh man, he's just killing them. Like, and it's not even fair. They look like
toothpicks compared to him.
It's not even fair, So although at the time as well, remember Kane was the ECW champion. So
Derek, I was recapping ECW during this time
you remember correctly.
Trust me, I remember.
You remember, exactly. It's almost like I planned this. And yeah, that was so yeah, when I was watching through, I'm like, it makes sense. This was building up towards that feud, and it was a nice little time capsule. It really was. Very good match, definitely worth checking out. Solely for the first two matches. Started off great. Triple H versus Randy Orton, last man standing match. Not a bad last standing match by any stretch of imagination. If the show had ended there, it would have been a bit meh. But this match,
I'm not going to let you defend that nonsense.
Look, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying.
Really? Okay. Hey, people, if you've never seen this guy named Triple H wrestle, spoiler alert: A, he wins. B, it involves a sledgehammer.
Great.
There, you've seen every Triple H match ever. You're done.
That's all you need. Like, you don't need anything more. But
it's the weirdest gimmick in the world. The guy's supposed to be all about being a cerebral assassin, and I can tear my opponents apart. But LOL, I hit him in the face with a big piece of steel. Yeah,
and it
that
works.
makes sense. Which is totally real too, by the way, guys.
But look,
definitely a real sledgehammer. That's why it actually makes sound when it hits the ground. Oh wait.
But look, the Triple H Randy Orton.
Sorry, is my disdain coming across? I feel like it might be.
That's okay.
I feel like it might be.
Look, this match was obviously in their series around this time. They had the No Mercy 3-title defense, 3-title swaps in one night is a much better story than this. This was kind of hammed on, and this was like a year later from that. So it just really, it didn't really do anything for me. I was kind of like, okay, I've seen this. It was kind of lost in the shuffle. For me, if we're talking about a one match card, obviously this wasn't it, but the reason to watch this show was Edge versus The Undertaker. That was like the real match to see, and it was 24 minutes of a fantastic TLC match where the spots are absolutely ridiculous. Like,
oh my gosh, Undertaker going through like the table stacked
on the outside. Oh, it was wild.
Oh my goodness!
But even what Taker does to Edge, where he chokeslams him through a rake of tables, they bash each other's brains in with chairs, and you're like, no wonder both of them are in bits. No wonder Edge's neck was screwed. Like, this was just Edge's match that he just showed up. But I did like the story of this as well, because there was like, this is why I said pay attention to the commentary when we were watching. Yes. The whole story of this match was Edge had been stereotyped as just being a hardcore garbage wrestler. Mm-hmm. Undertaker wasn't. But Undertaker wanted this match because it was his match. And the whole point of it was Edge is like, no, I'm more than that. But at the same time, then there's loads of cheating. La Familia run in and he wins through cheating. So it's like, okay, the story wasn't as well told, but he was a mega heel at the point in time, so it made sense.
Well, and the craziest thing about this match is that the stipulation was, of course, that, if Undertaker lost, he had to leave WWE, and that's why since 2008, The Undertaker has never competed again in the WWE. If you're wondering what happened to him.
Yeah, he just disappeared.
Very true to stipulation.
He just disappeared, and you never saw him ever again.
Yeah, he ended at I think it was what, like 17-0 at WrestleMania.
That was it. Yeah, it was
like that. Yeah.
More. But here's the thing, right? My question is like, why did they not honor it? Like, why did they include it in the first place?
You mean like why was the ECW championship not the last match on an ECW pay-per-view?
But this wasn't an ECW pay-per-view at the time. This was firmly a WWE show.
True, but they did call it, well, yeah, I know.
This is firmly
I get what you're saying. They called it One Night Stand, but if you do pay attention to like literally every sign at it, they were calling it Extreme Rules. It was like they had it was a split personality on the part of the WWE and how they wanted to promote this.
They still didn't know exactly how to follow this up.
They wanted to use the concept because they made bank on those pay-per-views. They just didn't know quite how to do it.
I think they should have done is, and Undertaker came back after SummerSlam, I think. Was that correct? I'm just reading this here.
According to Wikipedia, which we're both reading. As are people watching on YouTube. Exactly. By the way, if you're listening, you can see our pretty faces and visuals. Yeah,
we're finally working out the kinks now, trying to get this a bit more presentable for you guys. So if you're listening to us, go over and you can actually catch us live on YouTube and all that stuff as well. Nerd to Know Media. Okay, but here's the thing, right?
And if you're wondering, I'm Derek.
Actually, I was talking to someone at work who had the same name as me, and it was so funny because it's totally different spelling, but they're American, and I was like, oh, that's actually crazy.
Well, how do they spell it?
D-A-R-A.
Can you say that again with less of an Irish accent so I can understand?
D-A-R-A, because the G-H in my name is silent.
D-A-R-A. Gotcha. Yeah. Sorry, listeners. Wow. That's
Dave's
the most American thing I've said on this show.
Hey, look, it's okay. I get Darrig a lot because
we have no, that's Dora. I was gonna say we have Dara the Explorer, but that's a whole other can of beans.
It's a whole different thing. Kidney beans, exactly, to be exact, because she's Mexican.
It's a thing.
Yeah. By the way, I made chili the other day. Chili is super good. So
Now, I have a question. Are you a beans in the chili or not a beans in the chili?
Oh yeah, kidney beans in the chili. You gotta go for it. Yeah, you gotta do it legit. It's one thing I can make. I can make pretty good Mexican food and pretty good Italian food because they're basically the same thing. Which is why you can't. Which is why you can't get Mexican food in Italy without well, you can, but you gotta know where to go. The Italians purposely won't do it because it's like, no, they will only have Italian food.
or if you come over to America, you get very Americanized Mexican food, which if you talk to any of my friends that are, from Mexico or have Hispanic heritage, are like, the hell are you talking about? That's not what our food is. Like, you're authentic, and you're like, oh, okay, that's really good.
Yeah.
Kind of like Chinese food. Like what we consider Chinese food isn't. I did air quotes for people listening. Is not at all what they actually eat in China in terms of.
Yeah, I've been to China.
Stuff that's added to it. Yeah,
I've been to China. I know. It's an experience.
It's not just you. I was telling other people.
No. Look, all I'll say is, when we went to China when we were 16, 17, we all lost about 2 stone. Because we didn't eat the food because everything looked at you. So we just ate the rice. It was an experience. It really was. You have no idea until you actually go to these places what it's like. It's weird. Although real Mexican food
the American over here is trying to do conversion rates in his head. Okay, 2 stone is like 20 kilograms, right?
Yeah, a lot. We were very emaciated by the time we got home.
Right. And 20 kilograms is a certain number of pounds.
20 bags
Don't worry,
of sugar.
I'll figure this out eventually. I'm only converting multiple things at once over here.
The metric system is the thing, Dave.
Oh no, you're right. You can, no, it's fantastic. I love it. No, yeah, it's great.
Oh god, two Americanisms on one show.
I stand proudly.
That's
by
fair. That's
our
fair.
imperial system. Okay,
that's fair.
I have no
fair.
problem with it.
It works. It's fine. It's fine. To be fair, it sounds much better when you're watching wrestling where they're like 220 pounds than whatever that is in stone. You're like, that just doesn't make much sense.
Listen, I'm just saying that there's a lot more integers that you can divide 12 by than you can divide 10 by. So it's very useful when it comes to things like construction, etc. And it's very useful when understanding concepts and not just, going into the arbitrary method of, well, everything must be 10 to the certain power,
Yeah. No, look,
I'm not discounting
right.
that for scientific things. Yes, we all use the metric system because it makes the most sense, but,
But look, what I will say is, real Mexican food is pretty good. Taco Bell is not. Taco Bell is a dangerous thing to have, in my opinion. In my experience as an Irish person, going over to America and have Taco Bell, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, listen, one of my favorite foods in the absolute world is boiled cabbage. So
that's an Irish tradition right there.
No, that's not. And I want to be clear because now you're all like, oh, I see, he's gaslighting. No. Genuinely. I love boiled cabbage. My ancestors came over from Ireland. My grandmother makes it all the time. I love it.
Oh, well.
I think it's fantastic.
There you go.
I fry it up afterwards, put in a little, chili and garlic oil.
Yeah, well, they've ruined it there. Irish cooking needs to be bland and tasteless.
Right.
If it's not bland and tasteless, there's no point. Except for coddle. Coddle's super good. It's really good. And all our Dublin. Coddle is like.
I coddle children, but I don't know what coddling.
A coddle is a Dublin stew. So instead of putting in steak, you put in like rashers and sausages and stuff. It's super good. Super good. Yeah. I would recommend that. But this has been Nerd to Know Media's cooking show. But look, guys, if you're listening to us on Phoenix 92.5 FM, we are coming to an end. We will obviously probably wrap up a little bit over on the stream. Go over and check out Nerd to Know Media if you haven't already. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish off the show, guys. We will talk to you next week here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Say everyone who's here on the stream because we're not going anywhere. We'll see you after this break.
Follow me at the Dave Stevens.
Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.